Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Max Velocity weather forecast. And in today's forecast, I'll be breaking down a huge Arctic blast that's on the horizon that's going to bring very cold air to much of the United States, dropping wind chills and even regular temperatures below zero for a large chunk of the United States. We'll also be breaking down a blizzard that's on the horizon for the Midwest this Thursday through Saturday. I'll be giving you the latest breakdown on everything that you need to know in this forecast, and let's begin first with what's happening over the next few days across the United States. And to look at that, we're going to look at the future radar on the European model. So let's first begin with today. Today is actually going to be pretty quiet overall. We're not really looking at anything too crazy. The massive storm that we've been seeing for the last few days is finally moving out of the United States. That's the low pressure system. It's actually north of New England. It brought that winter storm to the Midwest. It brought multiple tornadoes and severe weather across much of the Southeast. And by the way, there's more severe weather coming on Friday for the Southeast United States, so unfortunately it's not over. Multiple tornadoes and damaging winds are the concerns once we go into Friday. I'll have a more detailed forecast on that, by the way, either later this afternoon or tomorrow, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel. But overall, that's what we're looking at with that storm. It's officially out of here by this afternoon. We will have a small little clipper system enter into the Midwest tonight into tomorrow morning. This is nothing to go crazy about. It's just going to be a few flurries, maybe an inch of snow if you're lucky, but again, it's nothing too crazy. Maybe enough for maybe building a snowman or something like that. That'd be about it. Once we go into tomorrow afternoon, that system moves to the east. We will still be dealing with some lingering flurries and light snow across northern Minnesota and as well as Nebraska. And then we're going to have a storm forming Thursday night across the southern plains. And this one is going to be very interesting because it has the potential to become a bomb cyclone. I know that sounds like a really crazy term and a really scary term, but basically what that means is that the pressure is going to be dropping 24 hours over a 24-hour period. This is much more common west of California in the Pacific Ocean. It's a lot more rare though for this to happen over land. It's almost like a hurricane like strengthening over sea. That's basically what we're going to see here over the United States. So notice this as we go into Thursday night. Again, we're going to have showers and storms across the southern plains. I don't expect much severe weather, but there will at least be a little bit Thursday night into Friday morning across East Texas and into Louisiana. Again, it's going to be a low threat overall, damaging winds, maybe a couple tornadoes being the main concern. Notice where the snow is though. It's actually nowhere near the low pressure system. It's going to be well back up here to the north, but once we go into Friday morning, we're going to have a more organized area of snow start to filter in to much of areas from Oklahoma back into the Midwest, and this will start to develop into a winter storm, and we'll be watching this very closely because it could bring blizzard-like conditions. Notice on the back side of this, a lot of cold air advection, and this is all going to be basically playing a part with the Arctic blast. This will be one of the two rounds of colder air that we're going to see here in the southern plains and the central plains this weekend. Once we go into Friday night, heavier snowfall will ramp up across the Midwest, and it could get very heavy as we go closer to about 6 p.m. on Friday. So Friday looks to be a very active day, especially here up to the north. Again, very heavy snowfall could easily lead to some travel impacts both Friday night and even into Saturday morning. Snow will still be lingering all the way through Saturday morning, and eventually this races off to the north and east. And even though it's a pretty quick moving system, it's actually going to dump a lot of snow. We're going to talk about more on this later in the forecast in terms of snowfall accumulation and much more, and there are timestamps in the description for you to get to that place. Once we go into Sunday morning into the afternoon hours, we're going to be watching the southern plains for the chance of a small winter weather event. We might get some freezing rain out of this somewhere in Texas, Arkansas, or Oklahoma, so there might be some ice accumulation. Be mindful of this. Again, it's not set in stone and it's not guaranteed by any means, but this is a possibility. Once we go into Sunday into Monday morning, we'll be watching for some sort of winter weather event to unravel here on the southern side of this Arctic blast that's about to roll through, and then we might even see this go toward the East Coast as well with the potential for freezing rain. But again, we're still several days out. Things could easily change between now and then. All right, I want to talk more about the Arctic blast that's coming to the United States as we go into this weekend and into early next week. And this is basically giving you an idea of all the cold air that's back up in Canada right now. And this is all going to crash down into the United States as we go into this weekend. We'll get one round of it with that low pressure system, that potential winter storm and bomb cyclone. We'll get one round of that cold air going into Friday and another round of this cold air that'll be much stronger going into Sunday. And this will really filter into much of the central plains, the northern plains, even the southern plains, basically the Great Plains, and as well as the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. So this will be a big event. We might even see this filter around multiple times. So it looks like multiple shots of cold air are coming here for the remainder of this month. Now here's the temperature anomalies. This gives us an idea of the temperatures that we are expecting from average. So in your particular location, let's say for example Chicago, this is 4. That means it's going to be 4 degrees above average here on Wednesday at 12 o'clock Eastern time. So that's what we're looking at there. So basically what we're talking about is a huge cold air mass will start to usher into the Great Plains once we go into Friday morning. This will drop temperatures to 30 to 40 degrees below normal across much of the central and northern plains. And again, normal would be your specific average temperature climatology wise. So that's what we're talking about there. Once we go into Friday evening into Saturday, this cold air sits there. Notice this really huge cold air mass back over in Montana and Wyoming. Once we go into Saturday afternoon, we'll have areas 50 to 60 degrees below average back and over in Montana. And once we go into Sunday morning, we're going to see all that cold air start to leak down into the southern plains and as well as back into the Ohio Valley. Monday is when this becomes a lot more noticeable though, back down in the southern plains, many areas 30 to 40 degrees below average. This could lead to some record-breaking temperatures across parts of the United States. And even going into Tuesday morning, this will start to really go into the Midwest as well. And it's going to get very, very cold. And again, record-breaking temperatures are a possibility out of this once we go into Monday into Tuesday. Wednesday as well, this moves off to the east. Cold air will usher in into the southeast most likely and the east coast. And then once we go beyond that, things become a bit more uncertain. But I do think the cold air is going to stick around probably at least for a couple of weeks. So get used to it, especially if you're back over in the Midwest where it will definitely be cold for a little while. Here are the wind chills, by the way, so just kind of give you a perspective of how cold it will feel outside once we go into Monday morning. The first really coldest morning that we'll see here of the new year. Notice the wind chills across the United States, even into the southern plains below zero. And once we go into Tuesday morning, it'll even be worse. It looks like wind chills will drop into the 20 and 30s below zero across the Midwest and the central plains. Even Texas could be dealing with sub-zero wind chills. Now, the actual temperatures going into Monday morning are going to be definitely warmer, but notice this at Monday at 6 a.m. Again, notice a lot of areas up into the central and northern plains in the Midwest still sub-zero in terms of temperatures, but back down in Texas, for example, even though there will be sub-zero or wind chills, the temperatures will not be sub-zero for most of the state. We might get down close to 2 to 3 degrees in the Panhandle, but I don't think we're going to go sub-zero in terms of the temperatures, but it will definitely be a close call. All right, let's talk more about this winter storm that'll be impacting the Midwest as we go into Friday. And notice this as we go into Thursday morning. Again, a little bit of snowfall in Michigan and maybe Wisconsin and Illinois, but again, nothing really crazy. Once we go into Friday morning, snow will start to move into Illinois, Wisconsin, Iowa. Heaviest of the snowfall will be back over near the Chicago area. It will really pick up though during the late afternoon and evening hours with a lot of moderate to heavy snowfall. But again, one key thing we need to watch for here over the next couple of days is where exactly will this low pressure system go. It could shift a little bit west, it could shift a little bit east. If it shifts further to the east, that means that we're going to see heavier snowfall closer to like Indiana, Ohio. That's the possibility. But if it goes further to the west, let's say it's over here over in like western Illinois, we would probably not be talking about much snow in the Chicago area. So even a bit of a shift here could definitely change a lot of things. But I do think the heaviest of the snowfall will definitely be somewhere northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, and as well as southern and central Michigan. We'll eventually transition into a little bit of rain near the Detroit area, even near Flint as we go into Saturday morning, and eventually this all clears out as we go later into Saturday afternoon. Now, the wind gusts are going to be something to watch for as well, because we could get some blizzard conditions going with wind gusts forecasted to be between about 30 to 50 miles per hour across much of the Midwest and even back into the northern Ohio Valley. Michigan in the same conversation, 30 to 45 mile per hour wind gusts would lead to the potential for some blizzard-like conditions. So we'll be watching that very closely. In terms of the chance of seeing greater than 4 inches of snowfall, it's about 100% really at this point for northern Illinois, even back into parts of central and southern Michigan. Again, this is an ensemble, so 100% chance is more like an 80 to 90% chance in real life, so just keep that in mind. But overall, it's a pretty high likelihood that we will be seeing greater than 4 inches of snow across that orange shaded region. So again, if you're in those areas, definitely be prepared for that snowfall rate. Now, back over into the snowfall accumulation, this is what the European model thinks right now. I would say this is definitely going to change a bit. Obviously, we are still a couple of days out, so things definitely could still change, but obviously talking about 1 to 1.5 feet of snow across like northern and central Illinois back into southeast Wisconsin would be a lot of snow, and this could definitely be one of those historic blizzard type storms that we'll be watching for. So again, not certain on this yet. Stay tuned, subscribe to the channel. I'll have a better prediction for you either in my forecast later today or in my forecast tomorrow. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. I also might go live tonight or tomorrow with a Q&A sort of forecast, so make sure you have the bell icon clicked down below so you're notified when that happens. Thank you so much for watching.